Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. Psalm 45, the most excellent of men, riding forth in the cause of truth, justice, and humility. Truth, justice, faithfulness. All the martial art principles in their true form, their monotheistic form, universal pinpointing moral precision and focused moral intensity. Even if I one day become an old person who doesn't seem very intense, it's still the continuity of that spirit being expressed through me. Martial is marital, scrambled and I Christ and the bridegroom. The Christos has the word hit scrambled into it. Hitler has the word hit scrambled. Hitler, they're trying to learn me. Lilith, ill hit, thief, hit fee, and so on and so forth. Of course, when you look at the scramble, so she is groomed by people in corporations, in cults, and social clubs, and secret societies, right? People like NXIVM, people like these Hollywood networks and cults that they try to start, witches, covens, Freemasons, on and on and on. Skull and Bones, all those groups that you don't hear about, Wolf's Head, Berzelius, and Yale, they're groomed by these groups behind the scenes, by their churches and their church cults. And you can see a kind of Jewish grooming in her. Look at her very carefully. Does she look like a crypto Jew? Yes. Compare her to Jews. Compare her to Orthodox Jews. If you need a very strong point of reference, female Orthodox Jews. Look at the different facial structures that are common amongst the Jews because they have certain breeding cycles that they put above the breeding of the general Jewish population. So quite often when we see these celebrities, right, celebrit, like British, the L word, which is a derogatory term for British people, right, English people, you see the word limit, L-I-M-I. The last part is T, the feminine suffix. Are they gender neutral quite often? Yes. So we see these kind of gender neutral nerds at these protests. And I'm not trying to insult them. No offense to them any more than any offense that God intended. But we see a correlation here. We see that the rise of the LGBT agenda, LGBT expression in society, the rise of crypto Jews and certain types of privileged people, it correlates to a decline in quality of living and more censorship. We see that there's a rise in white racism, really, nationalism, and there's a rise in Zionism, and there's a rise in LGBT agendas. And all three of them have not bore any fruit that would show that they're magically worthwhile or something. And that's not a coincidence. So it's safe to say that those ideas are a bad thing. There's nobody behind the scenes trying to stigmatize them like they try to do to the black and brown community and poor people in general. It's just their failures, their failed philosophies, them ruining our lives, ruining sports and music and dating, ruining what little good was in politics. They gentrified Jesus out of California for petty reasons. I know because I'm Christ. So while no one has any viable counter-arguments for my philosophy, universal pinpointing moral precision, and how I describe it, as they have no viable counter-arguments to what was the most handsome picture ever, and what the ideal man is. Who among you thinks you can explain to me why I've been shunned basically all my life? With very few exceptions, right? The exception that doesn't make the rule. My ex-girlfriend, for example, a nice lady with cerebral palsy. Tell me why I've been shunned. Why are females so oppressed that they have such bad dating judgment, that they're coerced? Those two females on the screen right now. Great example. There's more than one reason they look sad. And the main reason they look sad is because they're part of controlled opposition and they're oppressed. And that oppression extends to the deportation of maybe their family members, their friends, people of from their demographics, what have you. People like them, what have you. Fellow Americans, fellow people who have made it to America. So as we look at this thing and we analyze it and we look at it in terms of what is fair and just and right, should we cover up things so that rich white people, rich Jews, rich LGBT people, token minorities who, swear up and down that there's nothing to see here, so to speak, so they don't feel offended? That's stupid. Is that what it means to be an American? To be a coward on the leash that the rich have put out